everybody. Welcome to our service today at Trinity MCC. We are so glad that you are joining us from wherever in the world. And I know that some people watch this other days other than Sunday. So whatever day you're watching this, we're just glad that you are joining us in worship. Just a couple of announcements this week. That following the service at 12 o'clock, there'll be an endowment fund meeting. That's via Zoom. So if you need the link to that, and you're watching this at 11 o'clock on Sunday morning, then just shoot me a quick message after worship and I can send you that link. And also a reminder that we have 3 opportunities for you to catch up with us. During the week, Monday night, we discuss a theme. So if you're enjoying the theme of today's service and you want to talk about it some more, that's Monday night at 7 o'clock. And then Wednesday night at 7 and Saturdays at 2, we have coffee and catch up. And anything is up for grabs with conversations. We talk about absolutely anything at those meetings. And it's just lovely to catch up with people and be in community, even though it's virtual. So welcome to our service. Our theme today is the second part of justice. And it's now what? And so we'll explore that a little bit more. But will you pray with me as we begin our worship service today? God, I give you thanks for this day. I give you thanks that we can join each other at different times, in different countries, in different places, and we can be present all together as one. We ask your blessing on this service, that it will be all you want it to be, that it will reflect your love and your worth. In your name we lift everything up to you. May you reign. Amen.
Our first reading is Standing with Standing Rock. On October 25th, the Episcopal priest, Reverend John Floberg of Standing Rock, North Dakota, issued an urgent call to clergy around the nation to stand with the water protesters at Standing Rock. He imagined that he would only get about 100 people. But in the end, over 500 faith leaders and people of faith and conscience came to Standing Rock in solidarity with indigenous leaders. They came to support the leaders of Standing Rock, but they also came to call attention to the ways in which religion, particularly Christianity, has been used to oppress and cause harm to indigenous people and indigenous religions. As a result of the organizing at Standing Rock, the easement to the pipeline was denied. This was a rare victory for justice in 2016. We know 2017 will require sustained vigilance. Amen.
Nowhere else that I'd rather be than dancing with you as you sing over me. There's nothing else that I'd rather do, Lord, than to worship you. There's nowhere else that I'd rather be than dancing with you as you sing over me. There's nothing else that I'd rather do, Lord, than to worship you. So rejoice, be glad, rejoice, oh my soul, you're the Lord, your God, who reigns forevermore. I rejoice, for my God reigns. So rejoice, be glad, your Maker and your friend is the Lord, your God, whose rule will never end. I rejoice, for my God reigns, my God reigns. And God will delight when we are creators of justice and joy, compassion and peace. Yes, God will delight when we are creators of justice, justice and joy. For everyone born, a place at the table. For everyone born, need water and bread. A shelter, a space, a safe place for growing. For everyone born, a star overhead. And God will delight when we are creators of justice and joy, compassion and peace. Yes, God will delight when we are creators of justice, justice and joy. For women and men, a place at the table, revising the roles, deciding the share, with wisdom and grace, dividing the power, gender non-conforming, a system that's fair. And God will delight when we are creators of justice and joy, compassion and peace. Yes, God will delight when we are creators of justice, justice and joy. For young and for old, a place at the table, a voice to be heard, a part in the song. The hands of the child in hands that are wrinkled, for young and for old, the right to belong. And God will delight when we are creators of justice and joy, compassion and peace. Yes, God will delight when we are creators of justice, justice and joy. For everyone born, a place at the table, to live without fear and simply to be, to work, to speak out, to witness and worship. For everyone born, the right to be free. And God will delight when we are creators of justice and joy, compassion and peace. Yes, God will delight when we are creators of justice, justice and joy.
second reading comes from James chapter 2, verses 14 through 17. Show your faith by what you do. Suppose a person claims to have faith but doesn't act on their faith. My siblings, can this kind of faith save them? Suppose a sibling has no clothes or food. Suppose one of you say to them, "Go, I hope everything turns out fine for you. Keep warm, eat well." And suppose you do nothing about what they really need. Then what good have you done? It is the same with faith. If it doesn't cause us to do something, it's dead. I want to read that last sentence one more time. It is the same with faith. If it doesn't cause us to do something, it's dead. Amen. So we continue to be a pillar in the community. We continue to support and provide needs for families, things for family in needs, and we continue to be available for those who need assistance. But we can't be that pillar. We can't provide that assistance without the tithes and offering that you give to us. So we ask that you continue to give by going online to our webpage, clicking on the button that says donate, and you're donating to our organization, to our church, to your church, so that we can continue to be available for those that stand in need during this time of COVID-19 and the pandemic and other things that are going on there in their lives. And for those of you who continue to give every week, we just want to say thank you. We appreciate you, and may God continue to bless you in all that you do. Amen.
That song was just so much fun, and watching Tim leaning the camera, I'm sure some of you will need some seasick pills, some travel motion sickness pills before the end of the service. But sometimes it's wonderful that we can lean on each other And in our worship, when we sing that song, most of us in the church are leaning, and I just have this image of you, whether you're sat on your sofa, just leaning as you were singing. And that's what brings us all together, is remembering what we have done when we have been in the same place together. So last week was the first week of 2 about justice. And it was laid very, very heavily on my heart to preach for 2 weeks on this. And for some people it's like, how much more justice is there going to be? Well, there's going to be justice until there's justice done. And if that takes week upon week upon week, then so be it. Because we need to keep looking at justice until there is justice in the world. And last week we looked at examining ourselves to look at our own biases. Look at the things that we have going on inside of us that conflict with what is going on when we speak. And sometimes we say, we're not racist, we believe in everybody, we love everyone the same. But actually when we start exploring inside, we realize that we have some stuff going on. And I'm praying that if you were able, that you started that work. But that work doesn't stop today. That work is continuous. Because continuously in our lives, things pop up that make us realize that we're biased. Somebody said to me this week, I didn't have any idea I was biased about this situation until it came up. And I realized that how I dealt with it was based on what was going on inside of me. And I think that's the same for all of us. So that was last week. But now what? We know how to do justice in this church, right? We know how to fight for justice. We know how to, write to the stores that are not paying farm workers the right amount of money for the amazing, incredible work that they do. We know how to march. We know how to rally people around gay rights, around trans rights. So we're pretty good at justice, right? I would hazard a guess that we are good at the justice we know. The justice that affects us passionately. But we need to be good at justice, full stop. That's English, period. There are so many reminders in history for each of us on how to be a justice warrior. And in this time in our history, not just in America, but around the world, we are needed, we are called upon, it's desperate that we seek to do justice and we seek out the systems that are unjust and correct them. But it's going to take a lot of work. And sometimes it's so overwhelming, and sometimes I hear people and I say it myself, I am so tired. I'm sick of saying the same thing over and over. But I want you to think about a time that you have had to fight for justice for yourself. And how long did that take? If you were gay, you were probably fighting for justice years and years and years ago. And here still in 2020, there are times that we have to fight for justice again. Just recently, with the health rights for the LGBT community, here we go again. Justice is not a one-stop. We don't just do one thing and then we stop. Look at the life of Jesus. When he started his ministry, it was justice all the way through. He got tired, he went away, he communed with God, he refreshed, and then he came back. Justice again. And he had to keep saying the same things over and over and over because people didn't get it. God said things in the Old Testament. Jesus had to come and bash it again because people didn't listen. And so I pray that you're in this for the long haul. So many people have quoted. They've said quotes about one person suffering or another person suffering. Mahatma Gandhi, he said peace is not only the absence of violence, but it's the presence of justice. MLK Jr., injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. And so as we continue on our justice journey, I wanted to share some thoughts with you. And I know that there are some cliches, but sometimes the cliches help us in our journey. You see, there is a cliche about, when you teach somebody to fish, it's much better than just giving them a fish. Because by teaching them to fish, you help them to change their lives and the lives of others around them. Another one is don't teach your grandmother to suck eggs. I love that. I don't know if it's an American term or not. But basically, don't tell people who already know what the problem is, but rather be part of the solution. There can be no peace without justice. I was interested this week, I did a course with Dr. Amanda Kemp, and she talked about superiority complex. And I'd never really thought about that. But actually, allowing ourselves to think that we're any better than anybody else is such an unhelpful thing when we're doing justice. Justice needs to come from a place of heart and peace, not a place of superiority. And deep within us, each of us finds somebody that we think we're better than, if we would just admit it. So our second reading today was from James. And as Sandra read, and she read it again, that to have faith and wish people well doesn't cut it. So when we hear somebody in the community is suffering, to say, I'm so sorry to hear that, I hope it gets better, that's not enough. Because the only time that will be enough is when justice reigns supreme throughout the world. And we're a long way from that place. And so if we see injustice or suffering, we are called by our faith to act in whatever way is necessary. And Jesus had so many acts of justice throughout his ministry that we can use his example. We say that we are a Christian church and we follow the ways of Jesus. If we do that, then we will do justice until our last breath on this earth. So what now? What can we do? Do you know one of the really important things that we do is to read and to listen? There are so many people at the moment that are learning new things about the black history of this country that they never knew. And they didn't know because they were never taught. And expecting black people to fill us in with the gaps is not going to cut it. We need to sit and read for ourselves. We need to learn the history. We need to learn what's been really going on while we've been going about our lives happily thinking there was nothing. We need to educate ourselves. We also need to have conversations. Now, I'm not talking about conversations where we go up to a black person and say, how do you want me to do this? What do you want me to do? It's not their job to fix this. This is the white person's job to fix. We got this situation that we're in now because we have ignored it for so long. And there are so many layers of this, I can't even begin to go into it. But we are where we are, and we need to fix it. So when we have a conversation with somebody, that conversation needs to be asking them how they are, and if they're comfortable to share their experience. but listening, not trying to fix that experience, you can't, but listening to the pain and the hurt, because that will help you to be passionate about what you do when you know why you're doing it. We need to listen to the voices of the oppressed. Now, there are so many things that are coming up in the media at the moment, social media and mainstream media, that are telling us stories about the oppression, about the way history has led to the black community being oppressed on so many levels. But there are also stories that are being told, like Morgan Freeman, Candace Owens, who are saying, well, there's nothing wrong. Like, I'm a black person, I'm powerful. There's nothing wrong. There is no systemic racism. And that may be their experience. But when the voices of the thousands say, I experience racism, listen to that voice and understand the voices of Morgan Freeman and Candace Owens and others is their experience where they have been brought up. It doesn't negate the problem. Don't make assumptions. I don't know if in America you have the same saying as we do, but assumption makes an ass out of you and me. And it's so true. You know, we make assumptions about groups of people. Not all women do the same thing, think the same thing, feel the same thing. Not all gay men do the same thing, think the same thing. Not all black people do. So don't make assumptions because one person has said something that everybody feels the same way. We need to raise up the voice of the oppressed, the silenced, instead of our own voices. And I know that my passion for social justice means I want to get out there and I want to scream and I want to be at the front, telling people this is wrong, what's been happening is wrong. But I know that my place is at the back, supporting and elevating the voice of the oppressed. Because if we go to the front and we scream and shout, we just continue that oppressive cycle. I've said this before, and during this time of COVID, many of us can't go out, but there is so much that we can do. We can reach out to people, we can have conversations, we can look up online history, make sure it's a reputable site then, please. We can contact governors, police, city commissions. We can write to people. We can demand justice. We can demand change. We can also donate to charities that are helping to raise awareness of injustice. It's important to realize that every single one of us needs to do something. Because if we think that the other people will do it for us because they're younger, or because they're more active, or because they're more connected, I'm sorry, nothing will get done. It's down to every single one of us to do something. And the last thing that I want to suggest is to challenge the isms. Now, you may lose friends, you may lose family, you may lose Facebook contacts, and I would suggest that's okay. If we don't challenge the isms when we see them, the silence is complicit. We are going along with what we are seeing. Think about your own life when you have needed somebody to speak up for you. And maybe nobody did. Or maybe somebody did. There There are people in our world today that need us to speak up, to speak out, and to challenge. Screaming at people who cannot see that Black Lives Matter doesn't help. But trying to explain it carefully when the right time comes. And we'll know the right time. Change will happen. It may not be for a long time in that person. But when we speak from a place of personal experience or through storytelling, it's much more likely to have an impact than shouting at somebody and telling them that they're just wrong and every other word under the sun. There are times to challenge loudly, but if we want to change hearts, we have to speak from the heart. And those seeds that we plant will slowly, hopefully, change hearts. We may have our own problems, but when we look at justice, that justice that we are looking at is the most important thing in that moment. There is no point in us saying, oh, I know, I have to go through this and I can't. No. The justice that we fight for has to be solely about that. That's where Black Lives Matter came from. That's where Jesus left the 99 to go look after that one sheep. Because that one sheep needed that support in that moment. There are people that need our support and don't need to hear our problems when we offer it. Discern what you need to do as an individual, but together we discern what we need to do as a church and then as a community. Joining other groups in the community to elevate the voices of those who have had their voices stripped from them. Please, do your part. You may not be able to change the world today, but you may make the hugest difference in somebody's life.
Lord, I come, I confess, bowing here, I found my rest, and without you, I fall apart. You're the one that guides my heart. Lord, I need you, oh, I need you, every hour I need you, my one defense, my righteousness, oh God, how I need you. Where wrong was deep, your grace is more. Where grace is found is where you are. And where you are, Lord, I am free. Holiness is Christ in me. Where you are, Lord, I am free. Holiness is Christ in me. Lord, I need you. Oh, I need you. Every hour I need you. My one defense, my righteousness. Oh God, how I need you. So teach my song to rise to you when temptation comes my way. And when I cannot stand, I'll fall on you. Jesus, you're my hope and stay. And when I cannot stand, I'll fall on you. Jesus, you're my hope and stay. Lord, I need you. Oh, I need you. Every hour I need you. My one defense, my righteousness. Oh God, how I need you. My one defense, my righteousness. Oh God, how I need you.
As we come to this table, yes, there may be a wooden table here, but this table is more than a physical thing. It's a spiritual place. It's a spiritual place where we can get nourishment. That's why on that last night, Jesus took bread. He gave God thanks for it, knowing exactly what it would represent, and broke it. And then he shared it and said, "Take, eat, all of you." What a beautiful thing to do in the middle of everything else that was going on for him. He wanted to share this message with those that were there so that for the rest of their lives they would know how much he loved them, how much God loved them. And then he took the cup. Again, he gave God thanks for it. He blessed it and he shared it with them, saying, "Take, drink. For this is a sign of the new covenant." That covenant means no longer do you have to listen to the people who tell you that you are not worthy. That covenant means you do no longer have to listen to the people that tell you that you've got enough and you should stop worrying. For God loves you where you are and wants for you everything that you need so that you can flourish. So this morning or afternoon or evening, I invite you to take the bread, to take whatever elements that you have, and as you consume them, consume that love and that power from God that says you are special.
come to a time in our service where we stand together and we lift up prayer for those who are in need of prayer, for those who are oppressed, for those who are depressed, for just anyone and everyone standing in need of prayer at this moment. I ask that you join me. Go to that secret place or stay right where you are. And let's pray together. Prayer in unison that will radiate around the world. Prayer that will reach out and touch those in need right now. God, our Heavenly Parent, God, our Creator, our Maker, God who sees all and is available to everyone, to those who reach out and ask. We ask you right now to abide in the places and the hearts of those who need you right now. God, we ask that you go into the nursing homes. God, we ask that you go into the homes of the families where there was senseless killing and murder. God, we ask that you go into the homes of the families who have loved ones who are suffering right now and are sick from not just COVID-19, but other ailments and illnesses. God, we need you right now. And so we lift our hands up and we lift all these things up to you because we know you have the power that we don't have. That you're able to see all and look around the world and see the needs of everybody standing in need of prayer right now. And God, we're just thanking you also for what you have done. And God, we thank you for what you will do for us tomorrow, the next day, and in the future. Because God, we know that without you, we cannot do anything. God, we need you. And we lift our thoughts up to you. We lift our desires up to you. We lift our hurt up to you. We lift our pain up to you. We can't even name all the things that are going on in the world. There are so many things happening right now. And all we can do is just lift it up to you. Ask that you handle it in a way that we cannot. Ask that your will be done. And whatever your will is, God, we ask that you make us be able to handle it. God, we ask that you give us the strength to stand together in solidarity right now. We ask that you give us the strength to stand together in peace right now. We ask that peace come across and around the world over every home, every person, every family, every individual, and every creation that you have made. God, we thank you. We lift all these things up to you. We stand in faith right now in a God that we know is able to do all things. God, we thank you. We ask that you have mercy on us today. Strengthen us to do your will. That we will continue in your name. Amen.
Bind us together, Lord, bind us together with cords that cannot be broken. see. Bind us together, Lord, bind us together with cords that cannot be broken. Bind us together, Lord, bind us together, Lord, bind us together in love. We are the family of God. We are your promise divine. We are your chosen desire. We are your glorious new wine. Bind us together, Lord, bind us together with cords that cannot be broken. Bind us together, Lord, bind us together, Lord, bind us together in love.
As we finish our service today, I pray that we will be bound together in love. That is such an old song, but somehow the words have new meaning, because the love that we have for each other is the thing that should drive us to do justice. And so as you go from whatever part of the world you're in to do justice, may you be blessed. And as the slide says, the one who blesses others will be blessed indeed. May God's peace go with you.